Hey there, this is Jaran, facility manager at the Deep Earth Anomaly Department, located on the coastal strip in East Antarctica. I'm signing in for yet another cold shift. Okay, so my ears are still ringing from a very successful solar flare radiation celebration, the first of its kind, on Earth at least, but definitely not the last. Here on Earth, that is. You know, I've never seen alien entities have a good time before, and interesting enough, they portray joy very similar to us humans. You know, they danced, they sang some songs, they had a fight, they laughed again, they cried, they went out to vomit at some point, but they came back in and did it all over again. You know, I love aliens, man. Now, the fight broke out because one of them, I've been calling him Blip, he drank the other one's, I call him Blop, his drink as a prank, and he refilled it with espresso. And now, they are both into pranks, so it would usually be a laughing matter, but as it turns out, these alien entities can't burn caffeine the way we do, making them very aggressive, so Blop punched Blip on the center of his face. Now, the caffeine rush was acting pretty fast. It was over within minutes, but long enough for a good old rough-up. And I started calling them Blip and Blop because when they tried to speak, that was what it sounded like. Tried being the operating word because, let me tell you, they failed. Man, what a night it was. Even Ingrid enjoyed herself, and I suspect she is able to see into the future because she did a dance for us, which led me to believe that this is what she has been practicing for. You know, she danced a contemporary dance mixed with jazz, some whacking and voguing, some popping and locking, heels all over the place, and then she finished off with a freestyle flamenco. It almost looked as if she had been practicing with someone. She had moves. That bot got sway, yo. Joshua, on the other hand, he sat in the corner the whole evening, as he is a man of solitude, but I could spot from underneath his titanic beard his gold tooth and a smile. So, you know, you can hide many things, old buddy, but you can't hide having fun. Yeah, it truly was a success. I think if the entities on Vega came down here to join, they would forgive my red finger beam, I'm certain. However, I think I will make the investigation a little bit harder for them going forward, so I just want them to stay a little bit longer, at least for a year. I mean, since the first edition of the Solar Flare Radiation Celebration was such a hoot, imagine what we could do next year, you know? Also, Jaran the Duplicate held a speech. Not a dry eye in the crowd. He opened by saying how wonderful it is to be able to call all of us his friends, and then he went on to talk about how wonderful it is to have mysteries, and I think he spoke about mysteries for at least an hour until he made a toast saying, I hope none of them gets solved. Then he drank a whole glass of 88-year-old Macallan 1926 on the rocks, kicking his heels together and singing a grand old Norwegian toast chant. So we all woke up the next morning, scattered around the common room like residuals from a hand grenade, feeling like it was our heads that had gone off. However, before we went to sleep, I premiered one of my new songs on my ukulele. I called it Good Old Times. It's about these days actually, and how I can die happy looking back at them. I could play it for you now, if you will indulge me. Not that the radio is fixed or anything, but perhaps many years from now, someone will dive down to the bottom of a vast ocean and find a research station filled with curiosities, for instance, like the recordings of Heavy Astro. But yeah, if you don't mind, I'll play it for you. Just give me 2 seconds. Finding my uke. Okay. Yeah, let me just play it. All my life I've been alright. time flies. If I should cry, I'll smile. Think of the good old times. Sun still shines, even if earth is on fire. If I should die, I'll smile. Thinking of good old. Come in. Hey, Ingrid. What? Are you serious? Yeah, of course I believe you. Monitor it, will you? Thank you, Ingrid. You rock. You rock. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, see you. What a robot. So, anyways, that was the song, or a part of the song, and I hope you liked the part of the song that I wrote, "Oh Great Divers from the Far Future." And after the shindig, I went for a little trip. You see, after a few days of being tired of cleaning up, Joshua had to head back to his tent to see if everything was in order. I told him he could stay here for as long as he liked, and he said. He just needed to go back for a while to check on all his stuff, which is very typical of Joshua. But I thought that sounds like fun, so I asked him if I could join, and he was delighted to have me as company, so I did. Yeah, my first camping trip in 16 years. Imagine that. So I spent a few nights in a tent next to his. He has a campsite dedicated to his research on faster than light travels, and at first it was a challenge to adapt, but I found it quite pleasant after a few days. I mean, his research is impressive. He showed me one of his patents, a device able to achieve extreme velocities in a vacuum, like space, without using any kinds of fuel. It's sort of a pump. Looks a bit like a squid, to be honest. And by using an atomic battery able to last for thousands of years, it is able to pull and retract, speeding up exponentially until reaching the speed of light. The only issue is, as Joshua so nicely phrased it, is slowing the bastard down. Also, Joshua isn't looking for faster than light travels in space, he's looking for faster than light travels here on Earth, which of course takes a lot of time, but when he achieves it, and I think he will, he can go back in time and make up for the time he lost, so, yeah. One thing though, that I wasn't prepared for was seeing the ice entities up close, which I did. Now, it's completely safe because Joshua keeps them at a distance by having drilled a device into the ice, and the device is vibrating at an even 18.98 hertz, and Joshua believes that the ice entities are ghosts of explorers lost on expeditions throughout the years. Now, do you remember when I told you that what the Arctic swallows never leaves the belly? Well, Joshua agrees. His theory, though, is that if you freeze hard enough and the atmosphere around you is cold enough, your energy is incapable of leaving. So, in other words, the ice stores it, becoming a vessel for the soul. So, according to Joshua, to the explorers, hell was freezing cold. He still hasn't figured out why the atomic rods attract them like moths to a flame, though, but, perhaps it keeps them warm. Perhaps it's giving them a sense of hope that there is a nicer, warmer hell out there somewhere, or perhaps to them, God is the atom, and the promised land is filled with abundance of radiation, which, let's face it, the sky above us is. I wonder then if the father of the atomic bomb is considered their messiah. That doesn't make any sense. Perhaps it's a lot easier. Perhaps they just want attention. According to Joshua, they were, after all, human. One thing we know for sure, though, is that the ice entities like the area above the Dutch submarine very much, which makes sense given that the submarine is carrying highly nuclear warheads. That's how they keep warm down there, the Dutch. Regardless, given all that I've heard about the ice entities, they didn't strike me as particularly harmful. Now, I know they do harm. They do immense harm, let me tell you. I mean, okay, one time, and I was asleep when it happened, so you can only imagine the horror I woke up to. You see, the ice entities came across this freshly arrived crew, and they attacked the crew, ripping them apart limb by limb, before putting the crew back together again, using all the wrong limbs for every one of them, you know? Then they brought the crew back to life and forced them to work as slaves until their blood froze solid. Then they built an arch with their frozen body, which is still out there in the ice to this day, so... Yeah, they are harmful, have no doubt. Oh, great divers from the future. All I'm saying is that they, up close, didn't seem harmful. They looked almost tranquil. But, you know, hey, so does an octopus to a crab, you know? Now, what made me a little bit nervous was that one morning I woke up because Joshua woke me up. And he said, "Don't make a sound." And I asked him, "What time is it?" To which he replied, "That sounds like a sound, Jaran." So I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then he looked at me again, and I gave him a nod instead, which is called non-verbal communication. So we got out of the tent quietly, and Joshua gave me a pair of binoculars, and I looked to the door of the Deep Earth Anomaly Department, where I could see this sleek figure standing by. I could see Thomas Grind. He wasn't knocking or anything, he was just standing there, stiff as an ancient tree, just like Joshua told me that time. And some part of me wanted to go over and get it over with, you know, just ask him plainly, "Hey man, you know, what's up, man?" Some other part of me knew that that would mean certain death, you know. And I'm not particularly fond of the idea of becoming a part of an arch. Instead, we went back into the tent, which he had equipped with a monitor and a camera outside so he could see everything if anything came close. I told him, "Nice monitor," I told him. "Well, thank you," Joshua said. "Technically, it belongs to you." "Well," I said, "consider it a solar flare radiation celebration gift." And we sat there watching the monitor in silence, drinking hot chocolate brandy that Ingrid had prepared in a thermos. And Joshua then suddenly asked after a while, "You ever stop to think about eternity?" he said. And I told him, "Yeah, when I was a child," I told Joshua. And I really did, because when my great-grandmother passed, the priest told us that she would be in heaven for all eternity. And I remember thinking that eternity sounds like an awfully long time. I mean, think how good you can get in anything. You know, the 10,000 hour rule is nothing set up to a wall of eternity. And in that case, you know, why bother to learn anything if you can get the best at it? If everyone can get the best at everything, you know, nobody's the best. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't tell Joshua this though. I started to tell him, but he had fallen asleep before I finished. So now I'm obviously back at the Deep Earth Anomaly Department, because the next evening when I woke up in the tent, there was no overseer to be seen anywhere near the facility. So I consider it safe for us to venture outside again. So we secured his tent, we secured his gear, we packed all the necessities, things he had to bring back to the facility, and then we went on back to home. So yeah, I'm a bit tired. It's been a busy couple of days, but you know, that's just how I like it. You know, I can't complain. But still, I am knackered, and as the sun is about to rise and shine, I think I'm going to lay down fine. So yeah, this is Jaran, signing off yet another cold shift. 1, 2, 3. been alright. Time flies. If I should cry, I'll smile. Think of the good old times. Sun still shines, even if earth is on fire. If I should die, I'll smile. Thinking of good old times. I feel the cold of lonely notes. Take me back again. Let me fine tune them. I shine a light where God should go. God is a no-show, not even a cameo. It doesn't matter at all. Oh yeah. All my life I've been alright. Time flies. If I should cry, I'll smile. Think of the good old times. Sun still shines, even if earth is on fire. If I should die, I'll smile. Thinking of good old times. I wrote a song to pass the time. I wrote it to leave behind. I hope it will ease your mind. It's just a thing and nothing more. The smile that you wore, cut to the core. That's all that matters. That's all that matters at all in the end. All my life I've been alright. Time flies. If I should cry, I'll smile. Think of the good old times. Sun still shines, even if earth is on fire. If I should die, I'll smile. Thinking of good